This is Alan Block for CoolCleveland.com. I'm here at Indigo Imp Brewery at Tyler Village at East 36th Street and Superior in Midtown Cleveland.
Started with the stovetop kits and then eventually built my own little all-grain system that in my garage that I grew on. So I guess we just sort of got to a point where we felt like, well, it seems like we're making the same beers over and everybody's people that we're giving to are liking them. And we thought, well, let's give it a shot instead of just doing this on the weekends in our garage.
That ties into the name too.
Yeah, the Indigo Imp is, well, the Imp is a mischievous little devil, but in a playful kind of way. And the Blue Devil really was sort of our inspiration because it was the mascot of the high school that Kathy and I both went to.
Ah, okay.
And,
excellent.
But we didn't want to just call it Blue Devil Brewery.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You know, it's a little play on words, I guess.
No, it's great.
But yeah.
Alliteration is always good.
Right.
But you've always lived in this area. Yeah.
And, you know, we kind of felt like after we looked at a few places to lease that, I don't know, we felt like we'd have a little more credibility to be down here in the city. And it's actually kind of neat to be part of this Tyler elevator thing when we were looking for somewhere, as opposed to being like in a freestanding building somewhere that we didn't know anything about the neighborhood or the people or anything. At least they're trying to sort of fit into the neighborhood and sort of bring some business back down to this area. So we felt like we were part of something a little bigger.
Yeah.
So that was kind of neat. And I actually assembled those. Well, those 3 tanks were just generic food processing tanks that I bought from an equipment broker.
Yeah.
And then I had figured out we had electric immersion heater built. That's how we boil our beers with electricity.
Okay.
The one that's called the mascot has a big screen in the bottom of it that I had made for it, and we had the lids made for all of them. So really, I sort of customized it myself.
Nice.
And
is there anything in those now?
There's water in the boil kettle that we heated up just to clean with. Yeah, nothing too exciting going on. Slowly strain it out of there, so you just get the liquid, and that contains the sugar from the barley as well as the flavor and color from whatever different kinds of barley we might have used.
Okay.
And that comes back into this tank through a pump, and when it's full, then we turn on the heaters, and it does come up to a boil, and that's when you would add hops or any other, maybe other flavor or spices or something else is during that boil time usually. And it just depends on when you put them in as far as if you're going to have more bitterness or more hop flavor or aroma. Then it's pretty much done in here, and it gets cooled off through this little heat exchanger, but that is on the floor there. Okay. So the hot wort, it's called, is running through a hose out here through one half of it basically, and the other half just has cold tap water running through it. And so they don't mix, but you know, it's like a radiator or something where one's on one half and one's on the other half. Okay. So then, and when it comes out there, it's about 72 degrees or 70 degrees, whatever we're shooting for. And it goes into one of the tanks in the fermentation room. Okay. Which is closed right now just because there's a beer in there. Sure. But so then, and just a benefit of using that is that the cold tap water then is about 160 degrees, and then we put that into this hot water tank. It's actually called a hot liquor tank. And that's just, we just use that to clean up, and if we did a beer, another beer right away afterwards, we could use that hot water to start the next process again. So it's just a little recycling, saving a little energy as far as heating.
Now you guys do open fermentation, right? Yeah. So what can you say about that?
What that means is that after we brew the beer, it goes into a big open-top stainless steel tank. And so for a time, it's exposed to the air that's in the brewery, and if it's summer and we have the windows open, there's air exchange going on there. And so there's wild yeast in the air all the time, and there's a chance for that to be in the beer and help ferment it and add its own unique flavor to it. And I think we do notice that, especially in our lighter beers, we notice it. And it's just sort of again, we were going for a really traditional brewery style, older styles of beer that maybe you don't see a lot, or at least styles of beer maybe that are recent, but not usually fermented that way. Yeah. So,
well, it's kind of like there's some cheeses like that, I think, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. A lot of different products are actually sort of left to the wild yeast to help add flavor or ferment them or whatever.
Bottle one day a week?
Yeah, right now we do. I mean, it really depends on the season and how busy we are. But
And about how many bottles a bottling day?
Well, we get about 90 cases or so.
90 cases?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, I guess that'd be around 2,200 bottles or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a decent amount. We definitely need the automated machinery to be here all day.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot faster machines out there and a lot of people that bottle a lot more than that, but I guess it feels like enough work right now for the two of us to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The yeast that was left over in there eats up some sugar that we added right before we bottled it. And that creates carbonation in the bottle. That's called natural carbonation or bottle conditioned.
And is that fairly unusual?
It is unusual, I'd say, in the United States. It's a traditional way of carbonating beer, but not a lot of people do it anymore. And we just thought it was a neat way to have a more traditional beer, but I also think it leaves a little more flavor in the beer too. I think the more that you filter out of any product, with beer especially, it's not getting the complexity maybe that you could get.
Sure.
So.
Idea of the one bottle in the 6-pack having the blue kind of wax cap.
Dipped in wax.
Yeah.
And that's so we call that the impish bottle. It's a little different, but it's really the same beer in there. It's just decorated a little differently, and it mostly is for fun, for decoration. I've actually had people tell me that they like to save that one, like it's extra well sealed, and they're gonna let it age for a while.
Right.
They're all sealed just fine with the metal cap that's on there, but I guess it's just a fun thing to do with it too. So.
Yeah.